Call this meeting to order. Jim, will you do roll call, please?
Tom McDonald.
Here.
Anita Matt.
Present.
Jennifer Finley. Jim Molitor. Carol Langford. Here. Len Titi. Here. Bing Matt. Ellie Bundy.
Present.
Martin Charlo.
Present.
Mike Dolson.
I'm here.
James Steele Sr.
Mike, would you start us out with a prayer this morning?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Creator, we thank you for this day, and in your all-powerful, all-knowing, all-loving way, please bless us as we do the work of our tribe. Think of all those around the world that have needs of your care and blessings today. And we ask this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, we have our minutes from March 24th before you for your consideration.
Make a motion to approve the minutes with corrections.
I'll second, Mr. Chair, but I've got some corrections.
Motion by Len to approve the minutes. And second by Anita to approve the minutes. Any further discussion, corrections? Go ahead, Anita.
Yes, Mr. Chair. On my statement on page 2, just to clarify where it starts, they talked about concerns and safety issues with the railroad. Oh, wait a minute. A little before that, the kids are eager and excited about the basketball project. They brought up excellent ideas about putting up lights and benches. And then a couple sentences down, the group brought up something that they can do for the community since we are cleaning it up and making it safer. They will bring back our concerns to the Denny Washington Corporation and MRL. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the approving the minutes for March 24th with corrections, show a sign of hands and support. Unanimous. Okay, we have our agenda.
Mr. Chair, I have one issue I'd like to discuss with council.
Okay, one item by add for Len, another item by Carol. Any other changes to the agenda, modifications? Oh, yeah, Martin.
I'll have a update and open.
Okay, Martin has one more item. Jen, do we have any walk-ins?
Just Rich Jansen. He said he contacted you and I asked him to be here as soon as possible.
Okay.
This morning.
Okay, thank you. I have a couple of items just wanted to reflect with council on, and I guess I'll take a motion to approve the agenda with changes. Motion by Mike, second by Anita for the agenda for today's meeting with changes. All those in favor? Unanimous. Okay, go ahead, Len.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the council. Some time ago, I sent an email off to council regarding a resolution. This resolution was a project that was brought up at the Rocky Mountain Tribal Leaders. And what it is, it's with the Montana Healthcare Foundation's plan, how can I say it? The Montana Healthcare Foundation is planning to create a tribally owned or tribally led substance abuse treatment program in the state of Montana that would kind of be facilitated and administered by all of the tribes. What they're doing now, this is just a study and a proposed plan. And once it is complete, they will provide that they will provide all that information to the tribes about their findings. Today, I am asking the tribal council to approve a resolution to support that. It is the resolution reads, supporting the Montana Healthcare Foundation's effort to create a tribally led substance abuse treatment program and a facility in the state of Montana. And so they're asking for all the tribes' support on that before they move forward. So any comments or questions? Yes, I did email it to the council here some time ago, but I could resend it.
I think that I know at different times there's a waiting list to get into facilities. And a lot of times some of our membership is seeking help and there's no room. And so we end up bouncing people back on the street and there's not that support. So I think that any additional facilities are warranted, especially one that has the word tribes in it as far as a cooperating thing. So I would certainly think this would be a good idea to support. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Len, you said that a major part of this to start with is research.
Correct.
Will it need to go by the IRB? It's just a question. I don't know. If we're doing research on the res, it usually has to go by the IRB.
Okay. Go ahead, Carol.
I think, Mike, when the Montana Healthcare Foundation comes in and starts that's when they'll come in and talk to us. This is a resolution that the tribal leaders are authorizing to allow it to move forward amongst all 7 tribes. So when Montana Healthcare gets ready, they'll hopefully be in to ask that question of us if they're going to be doing research here. They're going to be asking the questions, but my concern is I've heard that Little Shell was interested in hosting this. And I know that us at Salish Kootenai, after talking to Rick, he thought we could provide land and also some financial help too. So I know all the tribes are seeking opportunity to have it in a certain location. And where it ends up, that hopefully will be determined by the outcome of this Montana Healthcare Foundation. But I hope whoever does it has, if it's a tribe, they have the ability and the wherewithal to make sure it's run properly. I mean, we already know how Indian Health Service has been to work with and help those hospitals that currently exist, like Browning and Crow and everything else. And then Little Shell being just the beginning tribe, they don't have the capacity like we do to stand up programs and get them going. But that's just I'm just blowing our horn. So anyway, that's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. Go ahead, Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would support this as long as legal looks at it before we do anything. And so if they could get it and maybe just give us a thumbs up or thumbs down, I'm sure they could. It's a pretty short resolution. Thank you.
Go ahead, Nita.
I was just going to second Mr. Chair. a resolution.
I don't know if we have a motion yet. Great.
I'm sorry, I thought he said he.
The recommendation from Martin is to have legal review it, and then we bring it back for council consideration.
Okay, sounds good. I could forward that over there and then have this prepared and ready by Thursday for action. Okay, thank you all.
Thanks, Len, for bringing it forward. Carol?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Me and Anita and Martin are getting ready to do a flyer for the change of duty for Dixon Agency cleanup. And we would like to ask council if we can get permission to allow employees to go be a part if they have supervisor's approval. It's the Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays, 13, 14, and 15. So it'd only be 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday. And hopefully we could split them up. I mean, some people may want to come both days, and it seems like we're getting a pretty good turnout and people interested in really wanting to come and help. So.
Okay, a request by Carol for a change of duty station for the Dixon cleanup for tribal employees with supervisor approval.
I have a clarification. Are we giving them 20 hours, 24 hours, depending on what they're, I mean, are we giving that much time of change of duty, or is it just, is there a set limit? Or are we just, because that's 3 days of work for people that work 5/8. 2 days for 4/10s.
Good question. I would say they need to provide us with a list or their names so we know that they're down there working. So it's not just a free for all, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know how many hours you give them. Do you give them just, I would say at the most 20 if they're 10-hour, and if they're 8, they just give them 16. Most supervisors, I hope, will determine what they need. If they say, no, you can't do it, well, that's fine. We understand that totally, because they've got responsibilities to the membership. So.
I was just going to say, with that clarification, I would second that motion with supervisor's approval.
Okay, motion by Carol to approve a change of duty station with supervisor approval for up to 2 working days for the Dixon cleanup. Seconded by Anita. Question?
In the past, when we looked at change of duty, we usually have names, actual list. And how many people are we going to be talking about? Are we going to open the door for 200 to show up at Dixon?
Yeah, I think what you'd want to do is identify your work tasks for each day and how many ideally you could have safely work doing those functions. So there is a capacity of workers that are doing some particular item, and say I need, you know, that's the kind of work level I need each day, and have people sign up for a particular day. Sure. Okay. Does that be? Supervisor would probably like to know the details, you know, and if you line up the task for each day, they may want to do that task on Thursday, or may want to do that task on Wednesday, or something of that nature. Go ahead, Nita.
Just real briefly too, the school is wanting to know exactly what days that we're going to be doing, because they're going to take a field trip and come down and help us clean. And so that was the Wednesday, Thursday.
Go ahead, Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And yeah, my daughter, I forgot to tell you guys, my daughter was disappointed she didn't get to go to the district meeting in Dixon. She still was planning on trying to get a crew from Two Eagle to go down and help. So it would be good to get like, yeah, I like Tom's suggestion of kind of getting an idea of what's going on, so we're not showing up and just scattering around, and yeah, let's have a good concise plan. Thanks.
Go ahead,
Mr.
Nita.
Chair, I think probably a good idea. Maybe we could write a letter to the departments and ask what the interest is, Carol. And then if they are, then they can get a hold of us and we can ask for a change of duty and figure out which work we're going to do each day. I'm sure the cleanup's going to take, with the garbage and stuff's going to be that whole first day.
First day is a cleanup of garbage and stuff, and the second day will be burning and lawn mowing and that kind of thing. And other things. Food's provided, porta potties are provided, dumpsters are provided.
Ken, if you want to have more detail and come back. What was the date again? The date is?
April 13th, 14th
So,
and 15th.
yeah, okay.
So if you guys could get something to Crystal Reese today, to everyone email, put the deadline to sign up by next Tuesday. That'll be the first week in April. That way you kind of get or even Thursday, and just get an idea. We can make the change of duty with the list that Thursday, and then it's on record and supervisors have a good list of people and we have an idea down there. We'll do sign up sheets. Yeah, so if you guys could do the email to Crystal, something real simple, who, what, when, where, how. Thanks.
Okay, we'll follow up on it as soon as possible. Martin, you had an item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's been a minute since I provided any kind of a COVID update, mainly because the numbers are, we're doing very well, as we did at the beginning of 2021. So hopefully this trend continues. You know, there's always going to be variants out there. Hopefully they don't, you know, they're like Omicron and they're less, the symptoms and the kind of the results of having COVID and the Omicron are definitely more subtle than the Delta variant. So hopefully that continues. Right now we have 14 in Lake County active cases. The surrounding communities, Lake Missoula County had a low, their numbers are dropping very drastically as well. Right now, Lake County is at 60% vaccinated. That's probably just either one dose or whatever. So obviously the vaccine's helping. I don't care what you believe. Numbers don't really lie unless you skew them one way or another. But anyway, yeah, and the other thing, I guess on a different note, just wanted to send my condolences to my childhood neighbors, family, and kind of the Arley community family that I have. Apologize, I can't be there today. But yeah, I grew up with 3 neighbors, and the Hayneses were one of them. And so, yeah, I just want to send my condolences to her parents, brothers and sisters, and the entire Haynes family. Yeah, that's all. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Martin. I think all council shares condolences for the Haynes family and their loss. Our prayers are with them. Thank you, Martin. One quick couple of things. Reach Rojan is going to attend the state tourism conference, and she was hoping to get a little bit more information from council on what our direction is for tourism and tribal communities. She's reflected a statement that's been kind of our normal statement of where we promote tourism, and the current statement right now is related to our resort casinos, Three Chiefs Museum, the Bison Range, and Flathead Lake. If the council concurs with that still, we can inform Marie of that. Consensus?
Sounds good.
Okay. I'll pass that on to her. The other item I have is just a reminder, the Nine Pipes Museum, in writing their new operational manual, have a new section on cultural preservation policy. And Joe Chef shared that with all of us. I sent that out to everybody. It's also went out to Vernon and Tony Senior for any comments. If there's any comments on their little policy they have, it's real short and brief. Just want to remind you, if you have anything, let me know and I can pass it on to them. The other one request that we have is Yellowstone Park is celebrating their anniversary creation of the park. And the National Park Lodges that run all the commercial concessionaires in the park, they run Old Faithful Inn, is requesting a tribal flag from us to show this summer, this season, periodically with all the other tribal flags that they receive for those tribes that have an interest in Yellowstone. And so they're asking a request from us to send them a tribal flag that they can display at Old Faithful Inn. Sound good? Consensus? Okay. We'll do that. Items I have. So, first on the agenda, we have Mary Rose Morjo. Mary Rose.
Good morning, Mary Rose.
Esquix.
Esquix, Mary Rose.
Today I come before you on page 2. We have a request for a change of duty station for our annual highway cleanup, adopt a highway for Earth Day. That's for all tribal employees that want to participate. And we do from mile marker 50 to 52 on both sides of the highway and down the middle.
Motion by Lynn to approve the change of duty station for the highway cleanup on April 21st. Second by Martin. Any further discussion? All those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous. Thank you, Mary Rose.
I much appreciate it.
Mary Rose, is there a way, did you get the testing done for the houses? Is it okay, Mr. Chair, if she gives a follow-up for the Dixon houses that need to be?
Yeah, sure.
Yesterday we went down and did lead testing on all the tribal member owned houses in Dixon Agency, and every one of them tested hot for lead. So the best case scenario is just to have them recited, because if you just paint over them, they're all still going to be hot for lead. Every house. So sorry.
No, that's your, thank you. No,
Yeah.
keeping us safe, really. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Rose.
Mary Rose. Okay, next on our agenda, we have an important dignitary that just walked into the room. I think he floated through, he kind of came in. So Rich, you have a great guest here today. Jim Williams is here. Jim is the Region 1 Fish, Wildlife and Park Supervisor, and he is leaving his work. Jim has been a great resource manager, great wildlife manager, just outstanding human being, published author, and a very strong advocate for Indigenous people, in particular the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes. Jim has just been a wonderful friend, ally, I don't know, guilty party. He's just been wonderful. And so Jim's taken a new position. he still will be working with us, but in a different way. And we're trying to, you know, suck every brain tissue matter that Jim has out of his head into younger managers and resource specialists throughout Montana. So hopefully in his new job, he'll have a wonderful time. But I'll turn it over to Rich.
No, you stole my thunder, Mr. Chair, and that's okay. Good morning, members of the council. I kind of know the chair quite well. I'm just going to turn it over to Jim because this kind of happened real quick. He just got back from tagging tiger sharks in Florida, and I'll let you tell him, he can tell you about that. But Jim Williams and then Lee Anderson, who I went to school with at the University of Montana in the early 90s, is here with him. He is the Region 1 law enforcement chief, similar to Dan McClure. But I'm going to turn it over to Jim to just go.
Thank you, Rich and Chairman McDonald, members of the council. It's a privilege and an honor to be here today, and thank you for your time. Jim Williams, Regional Supervisor for Montana Fish, Wildlife and Park, and Captain Lee Anderson. We wanted to come down today, and Rich was able to schedule to honor Chairman McDonald for his time in the natural resource world. Chairman McDonald and I overlapped and with a whole bunch of his staff and program, and some amazing things happened in the last 25 years. And I think of you know, everything with the bison range, making it whole again, and fisheries in Flathead Lake and the relationships that have been repaired and working together again. And in enforcement, you know, Captain Espinosa and now Captain McClure and Captain Anderson, we do seamless state tribal agreement enforcement, and all of that was led by Chairman McDonald. And on a personal note, you've been a mentor to me. And you know, my last day at FWP is a week from Friday, and I transitioned to the Heart of the Rockies initiative. And you've taught me, you've been a mentor for me and our staff. I really appreciate that. I've learned so much, and it's been fun to learn from you over the years. And I'm real excited to leave with the state and the tribes working, you know, together across the board on all programs, and it's going to continue. And I know the staff that we have in place, that makes me feel real good. And I'm not going anywhere either, as you say, so hopefully our paths cross again. And I know you have a super busy schedule, but we wanted to present, I've been saving 2 Larry Zabel prints forever, one for Dale when he retired and one for you, Tom. And so this is a gift on behalf of Director Warsack and all of FWP and everyone in Region 1 and me for you. And it's a grizzly bear in the Bob Marshall system. It's just a cool print. And Larry Zabel's not with us anymore, but it's just a cool print. So that's a gift to you and to honor you and your hard work and helping and working and mentoring me on a personal note, because I know what you did and I thank you for it. And just your incredible staff. Look what you, in wildlife and recreation and enforcement and fisheries, you have probably the most sophisticated program in the nation and more than ours. And so congratulations on a wonderful career. We didn't have time to honor you before you became elected to council and chairman. And so Rich, thank you for letting us take this time. And on behalf of us, thank you and congratulations on your wonderful, productive career.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, thank you. I knew you'd do something like this on your way out, but it's really about you. You're moving on, and I really want to thank you because it goes both ways, and it definitely has. And I got to say, you hands down have been my favorite Fish, Wildlife and Parks employee that I've worked with for the last 35 years, and really appreciate it. So I think just being able to talk and do things together and you know, create those relationships when you're not in conflict, as you've so adequately have stated many times, it's really important. And I appreciate your work, and thank you for the gift. And I can't, but I'm just overwhelmed. Thank you. Really appreciate it. So thank you, Jim. Thank you, Lee. And thank Hank for me.
Yeah, real quick, Chairman McDonald, we also have a gift for Jim Williams. I'm going to have Whisper bring it up and present it to him, and the rest of the staff could come up if they want. That has been a part of Jim's career, like Les, Barry, you know, the guys that have been pretty close, and I see Tabby's here, and Mary and Rob also, so.
Traditionally, we put this over very honorable and women.
Thank you.
We should get pictures of them both together. Mr. Chair, if I could, I just want to say both of you were gems. I see you both pointing at each other like you're acknowledging each other, but you're both gems to our community. So thank you so much.
That's from West. Would you make that? She did. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jim. Walk up and shoot.
Sure. Can we all council just take a picture with Jim? You guys all come around and take a picture with Jim.
Bernie, can you grab a picture with them with the council?
Yeah, yeah.
That doesn't happen very often. Our chairman gets honor. Good job.
Just another item for council today is recognized as National Vietnam War Veterans Day. So those of you, both my brothers are Vietnam War vets. One of them passed on and the other one's in rest home. All right, we'll move on to the agenda. Carrie Eneas and Steph Gillen.
Good morning. Thanks for having us on this morning. My name is Carrie Eneas with the Wildlife Management Program. Stephanie and I are here this morning, if you look on page 3, to request permission for some filming. So the International Wildlife Film Festival, which is a festival that happens in Missoula each year, they are hoping to, with their kind of each year, they have a week-long lab with filmmakers across the country coming in and doing kind of putting together a 3 to 5 minute documentary film that, you know, kind of highlights an important issue around the local area. And they are hoping to do some filming on the reservation, kind of along the highway corridor, to do a story about connectivity of the landscape, the crossing structures, the underpass, the wildlife structures there, and then also kind of tie that with some of the different wildlife species that use those, and kind of the importance of connectivity. And I think
so Chesquex Pesiat, Stephanie Gillen with Information and Education. So the history on this was we were approached, and of course with the bison range, everyone wants to do a story on the bison range. And so we kind of geared them towards, Carrie and I have been trying to advertise or do some positive advertising for our grizzly bears being hit on Highway 93. And so we've been looking at the option of billboards, we've been looking, which are super expensive. We've been looking at the option of using our transportation department to Corky Sias's program with his buses to do like a traveling billboard throughout the reservation. And when we were approached by these guys who first wanted to do a film on the bison range, which is a hot topic and will continue to be, we kind of directed them towards what about this? What about looking at our highways? What about focusing on our wildlife and crossing structures? And they thought that was a great idea. So they're just wanting permission to film. It would be only 3 to 4 film days with about 3 to 5 filmers. And then they want to do interviews with a few, we figure our wildlife program. And so we were wondering if you would like them to get a group permit, if we have them, you know, do a 3-day pass, conservation pass, you know, that would run about $400, which they are happy to do. And this film would be showed on April 28th in Missoula at the festival at 7 p.m. And we would all be welcome to join that. And then we would be able to use this film for education at the visitor center at the Bison Range, you know, or wherever we would like to use it in the future.
Any questions from council? I would just assume, since they're not recreating, they're producing as a nonprofit, basically a film that benefits us, that you've kind of directed them to do. I would just say we would just grant them permission to be on tribal lands to conduct their film.
Well, they did say that there is potential to use a drone in the filming. And so they wanted to see if that was an option or not as well.
That would be permissible, or under current regulation, I think the only place that's prohibited is on the bison range. So if you want to use, they're not going to be on the bison range though. You're filming the Highway 93 corridor. So I think, Gary, you would know best if there was some raptor or some issue with the drone, you know, some nest, some bird defending their territory, you'd be able to help them identify that issue. So given that they're working so closely with you, I would assume that that would be okay also.
Just a quick comment, Mr. Chairman. I totally agree with what you said, but I think to stay consistent with past actions on how we've handled these types of requests in the past, we just went ahead and approved the group permit. It's a great project, and I really look forward to these kind of movies, especially when these types of documentaries that are coming out. So I would make that motion.
Okay, just gonna ask you. Len makes a motion to approve a group use permit for the 6 filmmaker fellows for filming on the Flathead Reservation lands for the Highway 93 corridor wildlife crossings, and using a drone in their film production. Is there a second? Second by Martin. Any further discussion? All those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous.
Thank you. Then I do have a couple of other items this morning. If you scroll down to page 6 in the council packet. So each year here at the wildlife program, we do through you guys bring in and approve collection permits for people collecting data on wildlife on the reservation. And so what I submitted here was just sort of each year at the end of the season, we request that all of the researchers submit their research findings and kind of data to us as well, so that we're also to keep track of all of that data that's being collected. And so here I just put kind of a quick overview together. We approved 11 collection permits last year for various research projects. And so we received about 10 data from 10 of those. And this is just a brief summary of each of those projects and of the different findings from them. So we had some grasshopper research tied with some forb on the bison range that was conducted. There were some bighorn sheep and lamb adult survival on the bison range as well. And then there was on the bison range some bison bellowing that was data that was collected to use in comparison to with hunted and unhunted bison populations to see if that altered or had a change in their bellowing behaviors. There were also some work on some bumblebees. And then we worked with the University of Montana. Eric Green is a researcher that comes up each year and helps us remove baling twine from osprey nests. And so we, while we're removing baling twine, if there are chicks in the nest, they'll also take that opportunity to give them a federal leg band and then take some blood samples to survey for heavy metals. And so last year, they were up in over a course of a couple of days. We removed twine from some nests and they banded a few of those osprey chicks. One thing that was really cool about that is that one of the chicks that were banded, I think in 2019, were reported down in Texas and Mexico during their migration route. So it was really cool to just be able to track where these birds do go. Then the Owl Research Institute conducted owl surveys last year. And then we worked with Fish, Wildlife, and Parks on collecting some great gray owl data. And so that's a thing that is continuing this year as well. And then each year, so white nose syndrome is a fungus that is sort of influencing bat populations in the United States. And so one thing that we've been doing with the last few years as well is partnering with a few agencies, Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, to swab some of the bats hibernating in some certain caves on the reservation. And so they, shared the results of those. They were able to sample 25 bats, and all of those came back negative for any bacteria associated with white nose syndrome. And then there was also on the reservation a pronghorn study as well. And so those results are there on that report. And so I wanted to kind of summarize kind of all the data that happened last year. And then we do have some collection permits that were submitted this year. And I believe each of them are kind of continuations of some of the previous year's projects. So the first one here on page 8 is Emily Allenberg. She is with the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. So they're the folks that come up and kind of swab for the white nose syndrome bats at Lick Cave. And so Lick Cave is a small cave kind of in the jetty area. And so that's one that we've been, usually we accompany them on that survey, and then, they go down and swab for the different, swab the bats that they find hibernating there. And so this is a collection permit that they've submitted to continue that testing this year.
Any discussions on this request for the testing of bats? Motion to approve the request for Emily Holmberg. Motion by Martin to approve the white nose bass syndrome testing. Second by Mike. All those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous.
Excellent, thank you. And then additionally on page 13, our next collection permit is from Jack Hogg. He is a researcher that has been conducting research on the bighorn sheep on the bison range. And so what that study is sort of a disease ecology and kind of behavioral study. So a few years ago, there was pneumonia detected in the herd on the bison range. And so those efforts, I believe in can't remember what year, the animals were removed that were suspected to have pneumonia. And so what their study right now is doing is looking at how the herd is recovering to see if they're recovering on a trajectory that fits with the population that has successfully had all of the pneumonia infected animals removed. And so based on their initial year of study last year, it did look like they were kind of on that trajectory, but they wanted to follow up with that again this year just to monitor the lamb survival and see if they were still kind of looking good.
Carrie, what's the estimate of the bighorn sheep right now?
Let's see. It might, yeah, there might be about 16. Yeah, I know, I thought in their summary they provided that. I might not have put the numbers up there.
I think it is about 16 right now.
And I know that Shannon just had Shannon and I are working with a company to fly the bison range for big game population numbers. So we had a conversation with them yesterday, and so in the next few days they should be getting us some kind of initial numbers of big game from that flight. So they should have more fine scale data on that pretty soon.
Okay, thank you. So the request is from Dr. Jack Hogg to do bighorn sheep study on the National Bison Range, a continuation of his research. Motion by Anita to approve the request. second by Martin. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous.
Thank you so much. And then on this final one here on page 23, this is from Tyler Tappenbach. He's a research scientist with the Flathead Lake Biological Station, and they are requesting to continue their reintroduction of Columbian ground squirrels to their Flathead Lake Biological Station field in order to study kinship-related behaviors and kind of follow that reintroduction techniques. It's also an opportunity to learn techniques for live trapping, I believe for their students, for the courses that go on or that are held there, and kind of get that field experience of handling as well. And so I believe this is a project that started in 2019, and they are hoping to continue that this year as well.
Okay, so Yellow Bay Biological Station request by Tyler Tappenbach. It's a continuation of the Columbian ground squirrel studies on the facility grounds. Motion by Martin to approve. Second by Anita. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I was gonna say, was that the last item for NRD?
I believe that's your last item, Carrie?
That's correct, yep.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I got John Wheeler on there. If you guys want to do that motion item, then go into executive with legal.
That would be good. Will we maintain it for him? You
yep. Bet. I'm letting Wheeler in now.
Morning, John, are you there?
Morning.
We got you on. So you're on the agenda right now.
Okay. I have a resolution to present to you. Starting from Tribal Council Agenda Request Form 35. The Hearts Fund Tribal Grant, the grants funds provided for in HB 701 as part of the Healing and Ending Addiction Through Recovery and Treatment Heart Fund. This task order provides funding to tribes for the provision of services and activities in their communities that promote mental health, prevent substance use disorder, and or treat or support recovery from substance use and or mental health disorder. And so then in number 36, the resolution supports the submission of Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services Heart Fund Tribal Grant. Whereas the Confederation Kootenai Tribes lost it.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to support the resolution.
Motion by Martin to support the resolution of the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services Heart Fund grant application. Second by Carol. Any further discussions? Seeing none, a show of hands. Unanimous. Thank you, John.
Thank you very much.
Executive session and then break. Okay.